one of the groups that I have an opportunity to advise is the Collegiate 100, an arm of the 100 Black men. And, their meetings are pretty traditional. You come in, you've got an agenda, you call the meeting to order and you get to business. Well, one of the things that they have started doing since they returned to campus from isolation and from the pandemic is they are now open those meetings with a wellness check. And it's a how you doing? What's going on? What's going good? What's going not so good? And it gives them in a space of 25 to 30 African American men an opportunity to hear that not everybody is sunshine and rainbows that week. And that sometimes things are great, but sometimes folks are having challenges, academic challenges, financial challenges, emotional challenges. And they've been really open in creating a space for themselves that allows them to do that in that meeting and in that space. So if we can encourage and or create spaces for young folks to be able to do that in a way that gives them an opportunity to share and to see commonality in each other, I think that's a great step forward.
I love that. The wellness checks. Yeah. Skitch, how about for you?
I was actually going to say something very similar, Mike. I love that idea, the wellness check. What I was going to say is, the people that may be listening or watching this may be practitioners in different ways with young people or caring about young people in different ways. So they may have different programmatic elements with young people. They could look, it'd be very varied. But it doesn't have to be long, is I think what I'd say is I think there can be this assumption of I have to create this whole new program. We have to try this out and we have to get people there. Maybe it's actually just adding these little pieces, almost like from a Queer Eye perspective. One of the fun things, actually, me and my friends were talking about this morning. One of the other people on the show, who's one of the hosts, he's the food expert, Anthony, and he makes some really good food outside of the show. But in the show, sometimes I'm like, it's a little basic. But it reminds me that for some people that don't know how to do anything with food, you can't jump all the way up to filet mignon. Like, you got to take some steps in between. And so maybe it's just adding some of these very practical steps of let's do a wellness check. Or in the Methodist tradition, the question that we would often ask is, how is it with your soul? How is it with your soul? And because that can open up a lot of different avenues, religious or not. And so I'd invite that, as well as if you are the practitioner leading the group, participate. Name it for yourself. As Brene Brown, I keep going back to her, as she would say, lead with vulnerability, like start it off, because you can set the tone. Or as one of the chaplains at Princeton Seminary used to say, like, vulnerability is like stepping into an elevator. You can go as deep as you want to go and get off when you want to get off. And I think that's very true. And we can model to the people that we're with, that we care about, that we can also go deep too, that we can share the things that we don't know. We can share how it is with our soul. We can do a wellness check. We can participate in these things. And it's not just for them, but it's for all of us.
Yeah, I love that. I think the importance of asking those questions that can invite us into that space of vulnerability that, I think of Francisco de Osuna, 17th century mystic, who would ask the question, how is your heart today? Yeah, how is your soul? Leslie, how about for you?
I'm going to kind of steal what Skitch said earlier, in that this is not going to be perfect, right? We're going to allow for big mistakes, like the wrong thing is going to be said. Someone's going to laugh at the wrong moment. And I was thinking, I was in New York. We were doing Queer Black Men, and I was a facilitator that week. And I said, I'd like everyone to talk about their experience of their first Pride Parade. And what it ended up being was people's coming out stories. And some of it was like, there was this trauma release in the room. And I was like, uh-oh. And that's what it became, because that's what it needed to be. And I think, yes, I think it's important that we create a container, but that container just has to really be vast, and it needs to be able to go where I guess in Christian circles, we'd say the spirit needs to move where the spirit needs to move. And just to be able to be flexible enough and humble enough even to let that happen, to allow that to happen without it. I can go into a meeting. Here are the things that I would like to accomplish. And, which is a very male, it's a very male thing to do. And to just allow some room for what needs to happen. What I noticed that Karamo did very well was, I don't know that he knew that conversation was going to go there with these young men, and they were going to be that open, and he just allowed it and allowed them to be together in the way that they could without forcing anything. So I think that, like, almost like this dance with it is vital.
Yeah. That balance of or even developing, the doing mode of life and the being mode of life. We're well trained. I think, speak from my own experience, I was well trained as a young man to do, but it took me many years to learn how to be, and to be in the presence of others and be with myself, identify my own feelings, to know where they live in my body, all of that.